thank you to our witnesses for being here today. I just recently heard from a constituent who reported that her grandson had been accepted into Penn State University. I represent a Pennsylvania district. In this case, the young man was a star student, varsity basketball player, on student council, volunteers with his church. Should be a happy occasion for him, but he does not know at this point, the family does not know whether he'll be able to attend Penn State University because they will need the financial aid that should be due them. And so this is a difficult decision for them. They don't know when they'll get those answers. And so this is an extremely frustrating hearing to me. In fact, perhaps one of the most frustrating hearings that I've been part of. It's not only that student. We've heard from hundreds across the district, certainly thousands, maybe millions. I don't know how many across the country here in a similar situation. And I've also heard, talked to at least 3 schools. These are smaller schools in my district. Talked to the presidents of those who literally weren't sure, still may not be sure whether they can open on time because they're serving populations that will need that financial aid. So at this point, they should be fairly well locked in on how many students will be attending their school, and they don't know. And so this is affecting not only students, but it's affecting the schools themselves as well. It's a disaster. So I'm amazed and disappointed that we literally are here. And it's not a timing issue. This is what's most frustrating. It's not a timing issue. They've had 3 years to work on this. It doesn't seem to be a money issue. They haven't come and asked for additional resources to roll this out. So it just seems to be either just pure bureaucratic incompetence or they just haven't prioritized it. And I know the issue of student loan, whether the student loan forgiveness programs, they keep constantly trying to go around the Supreme Court thinking up new schemes. Whether that directly affected it, I don't know, probably. Certainly they've paid more attention to that than they have the mandate to fix the FAFSA process. And it's almost a pattern now. We've been alarmed by the department's shoddy data testing, their accounting practices, notably the department failed 2 audits in 2 years. Their independent auditor had to issue a disclaimer that they couldn't trust Ed's basic calculations throughout their budget. Mr. Kankrowitz, you mentioned in your testimony that the department initially refused to update its financial aid formulas for inflation, which would have caused millions of students to get less financial aid that was due them. And they couldn't even do basic testing on before FAFSA went live to ensure that the information was calculated correctly. And as I said, it's affecting students everywhere. I get calls frequently, all the time, to disband the Department of Education altogether. People in my district believe that the federal government shouldn't even have a Department of Education. And boy, this sure doesn't make arguing to keep the Department of Education any easier. So maybe Mr. Kantrowitz, I'll ask you, given their track record, what repercussions do you think this failure will have on public trust in the integrity of its programs and on stewardship of taxpayer dollars?
Well, even in a normal year, 2 million students don't qualify for the Pell Grant because they didn't apply, and they would have qualified, and of them, more than 1 million would have gotten the maximum Pell Grant. I think we're going to have it be far worse this year. That saves the government some money, but not for the right reason. And the challenge is, we're 7 months behind. Now, if they had started this process 7 months earlier, we wouldn't be in this situation. And
clearly, and I'm running out of time, but I'll just ask a question. Can we even make the case that we need a Department of Education any longer?
Well, the problem is, what is the alternative? Would that be any better?
Well, maybe we can get someone to run the financial aid program better. I don't know. I mean, we can argue about the amount of financial aid. We can Someone mentioned the impact on college costs. Maybe that's something we should be talking about, but we should never be arguing about effectively administering the aid that has been made available. But I'm out of time, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman.